There are two amazing free tools on the internet for salespeople that so many people don't know about. Today, I want to walk through those very quickly and show you how it can help you whether you're preparing for your first ever tech sales interview or in your first SDR role trying to get better at the art and craft of drafting great emails. I want to thank everyone again for the support of the channel as we continue to grow. I am still working full-time in tech sales, and I've actually run out of time to help people transition to tech sales. So I collaborated with a good friend of mine who's a rep at a Fortune 500 company, and with the experience we have helping coach people to get their first tech sales role, we've come out with a course that's fully comprehensive end-to-end, not only teaching you about tech sales, all the roles, but we actually diagram and block out every single interview type, etc., and go through mock interviews. We have exercises, we help you find ideal companies to work for, etc. So again, if you're not in a place where you're looking for that, totally understand, and really, we never started the channel with the intent to make a paid course. But now that we just simply don't have the time to take on more folks to work with, we tried to digitize it and make it more available to the public. So again, thanks again. The two tools I want to talk about today are emailgrader.com and subjectlinegrader.com. If you're not following Jeremy Donovan on LinkedIn, I highly recommend it. He started his career as an engineer and worked his way up to Chief Revenue Officer at SalesLoft. But that being said, during his time at SalesLoft, he used his engineering background to get a lot of data-driven insights from all of the information going through the SalesLoft platform. And again, without getting too sidetracked, the SalesLoft platform helps reps queue up emails and calls, and it tracks a ton of data like open rates, how many people are replying to your emails, etc. So these tools are an extension of all the data that SalesLoft has. And what it does, in the example of emailgrader.com, I can draft up an email in Word or Google Docs, and I can copy paste it into the text editor there. When I submit it, it queries that email against all of the emails that have ever been sent through the SalesLoft platform. And what's great is it will show you, one, if it's, for instance, longer than the average email, it will call that out and give you feedback. If you're using a lot of buzzwords like latest and greatest or best in class, it will highlight those and say, hey, this word has a negative correlation with open rates, with response rates, etc. And then as a whole, and what you'll see when you input an email is that it will say, hey, based on the way you structured your email, it is this likely to perform better or worse than a standard email. And it has a gauge that gives you a percentage, either a positive percentage saying this is, as an example, 5% better than average, or a negative percentage, which is like 5% below average. Now, I think it's important to say this isn't a single source of truth, and it doesn't mean that if I have an email that scores amazingly on emailgrader.com that it's going to be successful when I'm actually in sales. But this is an amazing tool because a lot of times if you're just starting out in your career, you're just starting and looking into tech sales for the first time, even when I started, I didn't really know how to structure an email. And there's lots of different resources I recommend that you look at online. This isn't the sole place to go. But as you start drafting it, it's actually going to look and give you like, hey, you're using a buzzword here. Hey, this email is like 2,000 characters and the average email is like 250 characters, right? It will call out a lot of great things and give you perspective. Not only just say, hey, I don't think this is going to do well, but it's actually going to tell you why. And by extension with Subject Line Grader, it's the same thing. It is using all the data it has from SalesLoft and all the best practices that it has pulled from data to evaluate potential subject lines that you want to use. And it has the same scoring system where it's above or below average in terms of positive or negative percentage, but it will call out like, hey, you have 5 words in the subject line. The average subject line is 2 to 3 words max. It will say, hey, you're using this word, which, like, as an example, if you're talking about very popular technology, like companies, as an example, like candidly, Oracle is known for having a very aggressive sales team. Words like Oracle or other companies that are renowned for potentially bad customer service or aggressive sales tactics, etc., it will actually call those out and say this has a negative correlation with open rates, with response rates, etc. These are 2 great tools you can get started with, and they're very intuitive and easy to use. As you're preparing maybe for an interview where they've maybe asked you to draft a cold email, again, I wouldn't use this as a sole source of truth. Definitely look up more information on how to even structure an email in the first place, but it will give you feedback if there's any major red flags in your email, etc. So I hope this helped. These are 2 amazing tools I have used consistently almost every day for the last 2.5+ years, and I find a ton of value in it, so I hope you do too. Appreciate it.